So I'm just in town today. The new vegan burger is out in Northern Ireland, and basically I'm gonna ask people if they want to partake in a social experiment, show them a little video of chicken factory farming, and encourage them to choose the vegan option. So let's see what we can get done and make some progress for animals. Yo, brother, I got a question for you. I'm doing a little social experiment, and I was wondering, I will buy you a free burger if you watch a little 2-minute video. We have a little and like interview based on that, and see what you think. Would you be interested?
It's okay, but thank you.
You sure?
Yeah.
No worries, man. Hey, I have a question for you both. Would you be interested in taking part in a little social experiment? Watch a 2-minute video, right? We have some Q&A, and then afterwards I'll buy you a free burger. Yeah? Okay, cool. Thank you so much for watching. So, I guess the first question is, have you any thoughts or anything about that, or you ever seen anything like that before?
No, I've never seen that before, but it's quite upsetting.
Yeah. Does it make you think differently in terms of, like, chicken? And not only that, but now for me, like, I used to eat chicken. I used to go to KFC and get the bargain bucket and everything. But I look at chicken not as like a food source. I look at it as like an animal. Like it said, there are nearly 3 million chickens in the UK are killed every day. And I'm just trying to get people to think about, be more conscious about their food choices. Because, like, I don't know if you noticed, but this came out like on the 2nd. And where I'm coming from is, like, when we can go to KFC, like places where we're like, I haven't been in 4 years. I've been vegan for like 4 years, but I can go in there now and get a vegan burger. So I'm sort of saying, like, if we can go to the places that we like to eat and we can have an alternative that's healthier, that is better for the environment, but also, like, isn't the product of, like, innocent creatures haven't been hung upside down and getting their throats cut and their heads cut off. Like, do you feel like that is something that we should consider thinking about? If basically, like, if we can choose a kind choice, the vegan burger, or we can choose to have people breed more chickens into existence just to be slaughtered, so we can eat their flesh when, like, we don't need to because we got this vegan burger. What do you think?
I feel like we should have more of the vegan burger choices.
Yeah. That's really good to hear. Do you mind, like, going into detail a little bit more as to why you feel that way?
Because, like, I love animals, and I never really thought about that beforehand. So now I feel more sad because like they're all dying and we're eating it and not caring.
It's so good to hear such a healthy response. That's how I feel about animals as well. I've always been an animal lover, and I was never conscious that I was eating, like, living creatures with their own feelings and their own desires and their own, like, desire to be free and not want to be slaughtered. So and I just thought you'd like to know as well. Obviously, this is off the back of KFC doing the vegan burger. Veganism isn't so much like a dietary choice. It's like a philosophy of reducing suffering as much as possible. So it's not just like the flesh. It's like dairy, the milk, the eggs, not wearing animal skin, not buying products tested on animals. All these ways that might seem like a dramatic change in lifestyle, but when we think about it, we think when people become vegan for those reasons, it's really just because, like yourself, like most people like animals and they don't like to see animal cruelty. So just becoming more conscious over purchases and how they harm animals. Veganism, it's just being mindful and saying, I'm going to make a choice that doesn't exploit and harm and kill, like, creatures who can't protect themselves. So that's veganism in a nutshell. And it's okay if you have, like, a completely different point of view than your friend, and you have, like, maybe a point of view you feel like is the opposite of veganism. I'm just trying to get, like, a wide range of perspectives anyway, and if you've anything to contribute. Or...
Well, I don't think it's necessarily right, but you can't force everyone to do it.
Yeah.
But it is it's a better option. It's just like take the moral high ground by becoming vegan instead of, eating animals.
Yeah.
But
no, that's a good point. It's something I hear often. And I came across, like, another way of thinking about it that I've, like, adopted as a response. So the whole notion of, like, forcing, like, your way of life on others, like, when we're not vegan, consider that we're forcing our beliefs on animals so much that we're actually paying people to force knives into their throats. So like, yeah, so I just thought, well, who's really being forceful? Me, the vegan activist, like just putting information out there, asking people to consider it, or like people paying to put animals in slaughterhouses and to have them murdered. And I'm not out here like thinking that people that eat animals are bad people, because I used to be one for most of my life. It's just like you never really thought about it. I'd never thought about it until I came across it, and then I was like, right, this is not in alignment with who I am. If there's a choice to be kind to animals and I can still have a tasty food, like I'm definitely on board with that. Anything else you'd like to contribute, or?
No, I can't really think of it.
No, great point. Thank you very much. Yeah, and you want to go get some vegan burgers? Yeah? Cool. Okay. So the funniest thing just happened. That last girl, I went in to get her a burger and she disappeared. So I'm left with this vegan burger and I have to try it now because she's not here, but I never got to finish the conversation. So just do a little taste tester because I haven't actually tried it yet, but it looks pretty good. Let me see. New box and everything. I don't know if you can see that. We got mail. So let's see. That's pretty good. It's nice that the mayo is vegan and it just juices it up a bit more, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good alternative to the flesh of a dead bird. So, it's a green light from me. I really, really appreciate it. So, yeah, if you just hit the play button, then you can take my photo. Thank you very, very much, by the way. I just want to say thanks very much for not looking away. How did you find that to watch?
A little bit shocking. Like, I'd never seen a video like that before. Like, I've heard people talk about them and stuff, but I've never actually watched the video. Yeah.
What about you? I know you couldn't stomach it.
I don't like it. I really love little animals. I can't do it.
Yeah, completely understand, because I feel the exact same way. What I think's interesting about that video in particular is there's not actually any slaughter footage, and even just the way the animals are kept is quite hard to stomach. It's quite hard to watch. So not even seeing them, be killed, like it really, for me, it got like the ball rolling in my head. I was like, well, how does it happen? So I've seen like tons of slaughterhouse footage. I've been outside slaughterhouses, do this type of activism, but really how I feel is like January, New Year and everything, they got like a vegan burger. So basically animals can't speak up for themselves. They can't promote the idea that they want to be free and they don't want to be on our plates. So just to coincide with Veganuary and veganism and the vegan burger, I'm just sort of saying, like, if people will check out like the treatment of these birds, like I'll buy you a burger, and maybe next time like people think about it, they'll maybe choose like the vegan option, because there is one, and there's so many now, like just with 2020, like all these super chains, these big chains of lots of vegan options. And I'm just like, well, if we have the alternative that doesn't cause innocent creatures to be forced into slaughterhouses, like, aren't we morally obligated to do that? Like, any thoughts? Or
I am not vegan, I'll admit that straight off.
Most people aren't, so I understand. I wasn't expecting you to be.
I've never like considered being vegan or anything. Like, I don't know, I just never could give up meat. But I might consider maybe a vegan option now that big chains like that and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is like a personal pain for me. There's so many nice people in this world that care about animals. And I can tell you're one of them, and I know people that eat like animal products and they say, I just couldn't watch it. And for me, the thing is, I know if they watched it, it would be enough to make them not pay for it, because the reason they couldn't watch it is because they couldn't stand to see animals be hurt and have animals suffer. But they don't realise that like it's only happening because they aren't aware of how bad it is. And if they became aware, they'd be like, right, okay, now I've woken up, the blindfold is off, I'm not okay with this, and I realise I'm paying for it, and now I have a choice. Like, do I continue knowing what I know, or will I choose like the vegan option? So just want to touch on the whole vegan thing in general. So veganism gets misconstrued quite a lot in the media for all these different things. It's like a trend, it's a diet. Really, it's neither of those things. It's not a trend. It's an ethical position to not harm animals if we have no necessary reason. So it's not just the flesh, it's like dairy, it's eggs, it's leather, wool, fur, products tested on animals, not supporting dog racing, horse racing, zoos, all those things, all the ways that human beings oppress and exploit animals for profit, for money and for our gain. None of which is necessary in 2020. There's alternatives for it all, better for the environment, you know. So with all that being said, like, I will happily buy you a vegan burger, and maybe after we can do a little on-camera taste test and you let me know what you think. But to your knowledge, were you aware that veganism was that which I described, or did you think it was just like a trendy thing or like a diet? Or
Always thought it was more a diet.
Yeah.
I knew there was like a partly ethical thing as well.
Of course.
But I don't know. I never looked into veganism much as well.
I can completely understand that, because there's so much out there that gives it a bad name and stereotypes it, that people think it's like extreme. And I'm like, what's so extreme about loving animals and wanting them to be free, you know? So it gets a bad name. I've been thinking recently that veganism is like a book that everyone judges by the cover, but no one actually reads it. And when they read it, they realise it's not what they think it is. So do you mind if I ask you, like, what made you vegetarian, or how did you come around that sort of thing? Or?
I was just like on social media and I watched a video of a pig, and there was no slaughter involved like the video you showed us, but it knew that it was going to slaughter, and it was crying, and I just couldn't stand it, because I do love wee animals. Like, I have so many pets of my own, and I was thinking like I wouldn't do that with any of my pets.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's always my mentality.
Yeah, because it's completely accurate what you're saying. There's this treatment of certain animals that is like bad, and then like animals that are consumed, and then like pet animals that are typically pets, we just give this like really good treatment to, and like it doesn't make sense. Why do we treat some so good and some so bad? It's abstract at best. So you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna press you a little bit more, okay? So do you know like the difference between like vegetarianism and veganism and that sort of thing?
I do, because I do dairy products, and I'll eat eggs and stuff, and I know that vegans don't do that, but I do try and buy vegan products, so cruelty free.
Yeah.
So I do try that, but I don't think I could go vegan. But a lot of the options like in shops are usually like just completely vegan, so I'd be eating those anyway.
Yeah. That's awesome. What do you think is like the thing that's preventing you from being vegan? Because you said something really cool there, which was basically you gave me this feeling that the vegan option is actually more in alignment with like who you are, like, because maybe you don't know, because I didn't know this. I went from like full blown like meat eater to vegan. I didn't know that like dairy products, eggs, like all those animals that are used for those products, like they're still exploited and end up in a slaughterhouse. So from my point of view, it was like, well, if I'm on board not to eat the flesh of animals, these other products that. And I know, like, when you go into like a supermarket, you see milk and crates of eggs. There's nothing inherently obvious that allows you to presume that like animals died for those things. But like maybe you don't know, in the egg industry, for example, like male chicks in the first day of life, because they're male, they'll never lay eggs. They're thrown in a grinder, they're suffocated or they're drowned, and that's all legal. And it happens in the UK. It's like standard industry practice. And when we're buying eggs, like, as a byproduct, that's what we're contributing towards. And in the dairy industry, like the male calves, they're taken away, they don't produce milk, they have no financial gain. We kill like 90,000 calves in the UK alone in 1 year, just because we want milk in our tea, when we can have like soy milk or vegan cheese or vegan ice cream. Or so you're obviously an animal lover. So I'm just going to encourage you to like think more mindfully about there's vegan alternatives for all those typical vegetarian things. And so, because I know that vegetarianism is more of a dietary choice. There is obviously like the ethical aspect of the meat, but I just feel like if we're on board for that, then we should be against all forms of like animal abuse. So it's 2020, it's the new year, and like there's vegan options. Honestly, like maybe research it. There is I don't know if you're in it, Ian. There's a local group on Facebook called Vegetarian and Vegan Northern Ireland.
No, I don't.
There's 8,000 members. Oh, you don't have Facebook? There's 8,000 members in it, but like anyone that has a question, like where can I get a vegan version of this or that, people just pop it in, and there's people I've been in it for years, so people like know know really quickly where you can get it, and I feel like for the 2 seconds of inconvenience that we maybe have to Google something, it's worth saving animals from suffering and exploitation. Would you say that the vegan ethos, the philosophy of like not exploiting animals if we have like vegan options, is closer to who you would identify with as a person?
Yeah, definitely. If I knew if there's any other way that they were exploiting animals, then I'd honestly choose that, because we have our eggs come from our own chickens. Okay. So we don't buy store-bought, and our chickens are treated well. And it's just like our family are very like I'm the only vegetarian in a family full of meat eaters. Yeah, I'm the vegan in a family full of meat eaters. I get you. Exactly. And I'm just a minor, so I can't drive yet or anything, so I can't go out and buy my own stuff. So it's convincing my mother. I'm older and more independent. I think that I can go full vegan if I wanted to. Which I consider. Completely understand that. I would just say just knowledge up and hit her with the facts. And like does she respect your vegetarianism? Does she get it? Does she care about animals? She hates it, does she? She hates that you. It's just to cook 2 meals. Meals for the family. How inconvenient just to save animals from suffering. Exactly. I do tell her, like, she's like, why do you want to be vegetarian? And I tell her all the time, it's because I don't want to eat animals. Yeah. But it's just she's getting used to it. Yeah. And I do, like, if I can, I do go out and buy my own food. Yeah. So. Yeah. You're going to hate me a little bit more. I'm just going to give you a little nugget of like just a thought just to consider, because there is this aspect of like people having backyard chickens, and obviously they're never going to go to slaughter. They get to live out their lives, really high welfare. Their lives are their own essentially. You might be interested to know the vegan philosophy. The take on that is sort of like there's one thing, and it's like, where do we get the chickens from? Did we give money to a farmer who's breeding chickens into existence, so that's going to go into the chain and cause exploitation to other animals? That's one thing. So that's why like the backyard chickens isn't vegan off the bat. But the other thing is, when we have these chickens and we take their eggs from them, we're still looking at them like they're a resource, like they're there for us. Like, and I'd probably be wrong in assuming this about you, but you know, people can very easily think that we're just keeping these animals because they're not giving us something, because we're getting something out of it. And you know, you probably know about chicken behavior and stuff, and I've seen things that we don't know what the egg means to the chicken. So like taking it, I've heard like the idea that taking the chicken's eggs can force them into laying more. I think it's like a grey area, all that, but I know that I'm sure you know chickens lay eggs nearly every day because they've been so genetically modified and selectively bred. Like in nature, they would not lay eggs every day. The amount of calcium that is depleted from their bones just to produce the shell, and the amount of nutrients in general, it can kill chickens because they're not natural animals anymore, because of humans, really. Because we're the best species and all that. Anyway, but I just wanted to let you know, because I thought like you're open-minded, you care about animals, just another aspect to think about it, and maybe like when you're older, like you can make your own choices. And also there's nothing nutritionally in eggs that we actually need. I used to eat eggs for breakfast every day, so if you love eggs, like I really understand that. But since I got the sort of ethical I felt like, man, I really care about these animals. I don't want anything to do with it. Like, if I could just own that vegan label, it completely embodies like what I believe in. It's like peace for animals, really. And I can be proud to say that I'm vegan, because I know people are shy about it and the social stigma and everything. But yeah, do you want to go get a vegan burger and we'll do a taste test? That'd be good. Hey everyone. Sadly, I thought I was recording audio here, but when I got home I realised that there was a file missing, so I hadn't hit the record button. So in a nutshell, I'll just explain what's going on the screen. They have the burger, and yeah, they were both really, really pleased with it, really surprised at the taste, thought it tasted very like chicken. Yeah, so I was incredibly happy about that. One was vegetarian, one was a meat eater, so I think it's powerful sharing vegan food actually, because it leaves people with a really great impression. And no doubt it definitely helps motivate them more to try other vegan foods and goods, and therefore harm less animals. But with the absence of sharing food, people maybe still have some assumptions about the food in the back of their mind. So just
a new insight for me personally. But yeah, I was out there for a long time and I didn't get as many interviews as I wanted to. It was maybe my line of questioning. But obviously I thought it was a good idea to make another video sharing the ethical vegan message and just encouraging people to learn what it's really about and to get involved with it if they align with respecting the rights of non-human animals enough not to have them violated, harmed and killed for totally unnecessary reasons in 2020. But yeah, I'll just close it off here anyway. If you're listening and you're not vegan, just know that there's a plethora of options and alternatives out there that just gives you the opportunity to choose not to have animals exploited and killed. And I encourage you to think about how you don't want to be harmed and that animals are like us in the same way. And that should be enough to respectfully leave them in peace to live their own lives, which is all we really want too, I think. But it is said that the only regret vegans have is that they didn't go vegan sooner, because these animals' lives are in our hands and the future of the planet is literally in the hands of humans. So eat mindfully, compassionately and kindly, and I hope everyone's good, and thanks for watching. I'm really grateful, so thank you. Alright, I'm out. Peace.